Today, and together, Jones and Altman comprise the 17th class of Space Shuttle astronauts who worked for docking, maneuvers, and EVAs. He later served as command module pilot for the Apollo 12
weeks here at the Cape. But because of that delay, we launched on Endeavour, and the very first day of the flight, we got to watch a volcano explode over Kamchatka, Klutskaya, and we would never have seen that geological phenomenon with our Space Radar Lab imager had we not had that 6 week
Foundation continue to grow. As Theron mentioned, in November of 2016, the visitor complex opened the
That was the most amazing moment of my life at that point. He gave me a ride to the cafeteria. I learned about his work and the work of the other astronauts while I was there in Houston. And I thought, even if I never...
I realized how many people contributed a piece of themselves to enable me to...
And I'm sure they were saying, who's this Zarella guy we got to go do these interviews with? But it was great. It's a long overdue thanks, but there's... Go for it. Wow. Once again, I present to you Dr. Tom Jones and Scott Scooter Altman, our newest Hall of Fame astronauts.
I remember visiting the Titan II rocket factory as a Cub Scout back in Baltimore. The Gemini astronauts flew on that rocket, and that's perhaps what crystallized this idea of an astronaut job in my mind. And I met Dave Scott and Wally Schirra when they visited the Air Force Academy. And after the talk, they gave a fascinating talk together. I ran down to the front of the room to meet these two guys, Scott and Schirra. And I went right up to Wally Schirra and I shook his hand and I said, "Thank you, Captain Scott." And that probably explains why my first two NASA applications were rejected. And on the way up to orbit, Sid Gutierrez, the commander, piped up on the intercom. I was sitting downstairs in the middeck with Linda Godwin. He says, "Tom, we just passed 50 miles. Congratulations. You're an astronaut." And that was a big surprise, and what a gratifying moment that was. What a dream come true. Exploration, folks, is a story without an end. And many of the young people here will write chapters in that story, and I can't wait to see what new discoveries they're going to reveal.
To begin at the beginning, I have to give credit to my parents, Fred and Sharon Altman, who are here with us today. When I turned to them at 3 years old watching the TV show Sky King and said, I want to be a pilot, they didn't say, oh, you're just a kid. They said, you can do anything you want if you work hard and give it your best. And don't give up. But I do think each generation looks both forward and back in amazement. I know I grew up dreaming and looking at the pilots of World War II in Korea and dreaming of becoming a jet pilot. I remember my grandparents traveling to Florida in the 60s and coming back with a bag of oranges and a model of the Saturn V that I thought was so cool. And I remember going out in a small town in Illinois when I was almost 10 and looking up at the moon and realizing there was a human up there on the moon and just being amazed. When I was asked one time, what achievement was I most proud about? You know, I thought and reflected on my career. I thought, you know, flying on and off carriers, launching on the shuttle, commanding a mission to Hubble and not killing it, were all great, but the thing I'm most proud of has been sharing my life for 33 years with my wife and raising 3 wonderful boys. So, thank you. I owe them all a debt I can never repay.
Thomas D. Jones's fascination with flying began early in his life and led him to the United States Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs and earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Basic Sciences in 1977. He earned a doctorate in planetary science from the University of Arizona in Tucson in 1988, graduating Phi Beta Kappa. In 1990, Jones joined Science Applications International Corporation in Washington, D.C. as a senior scientist. He performed advanced program planning for NASA's Solar System Exploration Division, investigating future robotic missions to Mars, asteroids, and the outer solar system. Jones became a NASA astronaut in July 1991. His first space shuttle mission was STS-59 aboard Endeavour in April 1994.
3, 2, 1, 0, and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Endeavour, observing the changes of planet Earth.
On that mission, he ran science operations during the night shift and marked the first flight of the Space Radar Laboratory. On STS-68 in October 1994, Jones was payload commander.
3, 2, 1, and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Endeavour on a mission to study the Earth's ever-changing environment.
Once again, flying on Endeavour, the flight was the second for the Space Radar Laboratory. Jones next flew in late 1996 on Columbia during the STS-80 mission. It was on that flight that he set a shuttle endurance record of nearly 18 days in orbit. During the mission, he used Columbia's robotic arm to release the Wake Shield satellite and later grapple and retrieve it from orbit. His final space flight was aboard Atlantis on STS-98 in February 2001.
0, and liftoff of Space Shuttle Atlantis with Destiny. Laboratory orbit 20%.
Jones and his crew delivered the U.S. Destiny Laboratory module to the International Space Station. He helped install the lab during a series of 3 spacewalks lasting more than 19 hours. The successful addition of Destiny gave the first expedition crew the largest space outpost in history and marked the start of onboard scientific research aboard the space station. Jones retired as a NASA astronaut in 2001 with a total mission time of 53 days and 48 minutes and 3 spacewalks. Dr. Thomas D. Jones's accomplishments as a successful scientist, researcher, and astronaut with NASA embodies what it means to be a member of the United States Astronaut Hall of Fame. When America's Mercury astronauts were taking NASA's first step into space, Scott D. Altman was growing up in Pekin, Illinois. In those early years, he was fascinated with the idea of flying. Wanting to learn everything he could about airplanes, Altman earned a degree in aeronautical and astronautical engineering at the University of Illinois. It was there where he decided to pursue a career in the U.S. Navy as a naval aviator. While based at Air Station Miramar in San Diego, California, Altman had a role in the movie Top Gun, flying an F-14 Tomcat as Tom Cruise's character in the film. The Navy recognized Altman's piloting skills, selecting him for the Navy Test Pilot School, where he graduated in June 1990. 5 years later, Altman was selected by NASA as an astronaut. Altman's first space shuttle mission was STS-90 in April and May of 1998.
And liftoff of Space Shuttle Columbia on a mission expanding our knowledge and understanding of the human nervous system.
He served as pilot for the 16-day mission of the European Space Agency's Space Lab. 2 years later, the STS-106 crew of Atlantis lifted off with Altman, again serving as pilot during the September 2000 flight to the International Space Station. Altman was commander of the shuttle Columbia in March 2002 for a mission to service the Hubble Space Telescope. The orbiting observatory was updated with improved solar arrays, a new camera, and a power control unit.
3, 2, 1, and liftoff of Space Shuttle Atlantis, a final visit to enhance the vision of Hubble into the deepest grandeur of our universe.
As commander of STS-125, Altman commanded Atlantis on a return mission to the Hubble Space Telescope, spending 13 days upgrading instruments.
Main gear touchdown.
Following STS-125, Altman served as chief of the exploration branch of the Astronaut Office. In this role, he participated in the development of NASA's next human-rated spacecraft, the Orion, designed to take astronauts to the Moon and Mars. Captain Scott D. Altman, with his numerous accomplishments as a Navy pilot, astronaut, and leader in NASA and industry, embodies what it means to be a member of the United States Astronaut Hall of Fame.